Manchester United and Spurs have nullified one another in a frustrating 2-2 stalemate in the Premier League. Another frustrating result for Manchester United, another 2-goal lead that we simply threw away. Now, Erik Ten Hag has blamed the fact that the players did not give 100% as the main reason why we lost the game. He may be right, but partially right, because there's actually much more to the story. Let's analyze. Alright, so those of you who have watched the previous video that I have posted, how to beat Pep Guardiola's Manchester City, are gonna be familiar with this concept, which is the best way to beat teams that play in banks of 4 or banks of 5-4-1, like is the case here with Spurs. They're a team that plays in a 3-4-3 formation that turns into a 5-4-1 formation in the defensive phase, like this, with Son and Richarlison as the extra midfielders. The best way to beat these kind of teams is to play between the lines, to get in behind their midfielders, between the midfield and the defensive line. And I was so excited during this game because that's exactly what we did in the first half. And this is great practice for when we eventually meet Pep Guardiola's Manchester City in the FA Cup final. So here, as you can see, between the midfield and defensive line, Christian Eriksen and Bruno Fernandes are finding refuge. And of course, Lindelof, a very good ball-playing defender, is definitely going to find a pass, but not to one of those two, but to Marcus Rashford. And of course, the midfielders, Son, Skip, Højbjerg, and Richarlison are all taken out of the equation with this pass. Rashford, great first touch, keeps the ball, and then now he's going to find Jadon Sancho. Now, Jadon Sancho and Christian Eriksen are going to combine and work together in order to create our first goal in the 6th minute. Christian Eriksen, great tactical awareness. He's making this run in order to give space and time to Jadon Sancho, who obliges. Beautiful. That's such a Jadon Sancho goal. And guys, you don't go from pillaging the Bundesliga for 3 seasons into being a useless player at Manchester United. There is a player there. It's a motivation and confidence issue. Hopefully, we're going to see the real Jadon Sancho next season. Great goal, 1-0 Manchester United. But then again, it didn't stop there because we tormented Spurs for the whole first half. Here's another example of how Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes, as you can see, they are not lined up like this, but they are lined up in a vertical way in order for them to bypass the press by this Spurs midfield line. One pass, Casemiro to Bruno Fernandes. By the way, Bruno Fernandes, what a turn. Look at this. My God, that was beautiful. That way they took out all the Spurs midfielders by playing in between the lines. Such an underrated player, by the way. We have to cherish Bruno Fernandes. He was not even 100% fit. He's playing with the knock, and yet still he was easily one of the best players on the pitch in that first half. Beautiful shot. That should have been a beautiful goal. And here what I like about this is that this sequence right here shows how Spurs in the first half, they started to adapt to our shape. Here, Skip, for example, was really aggressive with the press in the first half. Right now, he started to back off because he understood that the more he pressed our midfielders, the more we played around him and the more we ended up behind him. So he was literally rendered redundant. And so what he started to do instead is that he started to actually drop off a little more. But what that did is that it gave Christian Eriksen and Bruno Fernandes, the two most creative players on the pitch, more time and space on the ball, and it allowed us to play certain sequences like this one, for example, wide towards Sancho. We end up with Bruno Fernandes, the ball at his feet in this half space right here at the edge of the box. Very dangerous place. And Marcus Rashford able to run into that far post. Beautiful sequence right here. Come on, guys. That should have been another goal from Manchester United. We should have scored 3 or 4 goals in that first half. And then here again, another cool sequence. Anthony, whose defensive contribution is overlooked sometimes. Beautiful, wins the ball cleanly. And then Bruno Fernandes, Mr. Hollywood pass. Yes, exactly. Beautiful pass towards Marcus Rashford. Finish with his left foot, high and hard. Beautiful finish into the net. 2-0 Manchester United during halftime. Now, what happened though? How did we end up actually losing all of these points? How did we go from leading 2-0 to dropping 2 points and drawing 2-2 against Spurs? Erik Ten Hag said that it had to do with the players not being 100% focused, not giving 100%. I agree to an extent. Yes, we were very sloppy in possession. Most of our players did not play to the level that is required. That's one. But also, he failed to mention that Ryan Mason, the interim Spurs manager, has made some tactical tweaks that have led to Spurs clawing their way back into the game. And Erik Ten Hag is guilty for not responding and not reacting to those changes. Let's see what happened. So, here first of all, as you can see, Eric Dyer, who is pretty much the equivalent of Harry Maguire as far as Spurs fans are concerned. They don't like Eric Dyer. And yet this game, the second half was Eric Dyer's half, and we're gonna see why. Here, in the second half, he started actually stepping into the midfield. Literally playing in that number 6 role instead of being a center back alongside Langley and Romero. And here actually he's talking to Romero, and we're gonna see that in a much clearer way. But the reason why they did this is because they changed their shape to a 4-3-3. It gave them a little more balance, a little more stability, because they were overrun in midfield. Now, as you can see here, you're gonna see that communication a little clearer if you pay attention to Eric Dyer over here. Look, he's telling Romero, no bro, it's fine, you stay deep, I'm gonna go up, okay? So now it puts Spurs in a very advantageous situation here, because they are able to nullify that little advantage we had in midfield. As you can see here, Casemiro and Eriksen are taken by Højbjerg and Skip, but Eric Dyer gets to perform in that number 6 as a free electron, as a player who can help create overloads in midfield, as well as help support and shield the defense if needed. That's master stroke number 1. Now, Eric Dyer was not the only player that Ryan Mason instructed to step into midfield. The other one is a player who probably is going to be playing in the red of Manchester United next season, Harry Kane, who effectively, in the second half, played as a number 10. And so basically what they did is that Ryan Mason's tweaks helped Spurs create a diamond shape, with, of course, these shuttle midfielders, Skip and Højbjerg, as number 8, all-action, box-to-box midfielders, and then Harry Kane as a creative number 10, and Eric Dyer as a number 6 that acts as a shield. And so we went from having an advantage, 3 midfielders to 2 in the first half, to now Spurs having an advantage of 4 midfielders to 3 against us in the second half. This is why we lost control of the game, and we lost control of the midfield. This, by the way, is the sequence that has led to Porro's goal, okay? So we were really poor defending that. Now, I included this sequence because what the hell is happening here? I have no idea. You know, when I was looking at this, I was like, what the hell is happening? Look, Luke Shaw and Victor Lindelof, our 2 center backs. They are too much to the left. Where is Dalot? He's actually here, but you can't see him because my big fat head is in the way. Okay? But we have this space right here, which is empty. What is our shape? Look, Anthony, Martial, look how he's standing. What are you doing, bro? Okay? Now, you have Fred, Rashford. What are they doing? What is their purpose? What is their role in this sequence? Casemiro playing as a right-sided center-back. What is happening? I have no idea. This shows total confusion from the Manchester United players. So what's going to happen, of course, is Kane towards Kulusevski. Now Dalot is coming back, but it's too late already. Thank God this did not lead to a goal. It could have been a goal, but what was happening? Now, guys, this sequence is what's going to cement Eric Dyer as a legend among Spurs fans. If you are a Spurs fan, you know, thank me in the comment section because I'm changing your perception of Eric Dyer. All right, and if you are a Manchester United fan, we got to think about how come Erik Ten Hag did not see this, and how come he did not react to this. As a tactician, you're supposed to react to this. Throw in for Spurs. Eric Dyer is here. He's a center back. He's supposed to be here. And yet he's here. He's playing as a number 10, right? The other player, of course, involved is Harry Kane, who is dropping quite deep. That allows them to have numerical superiority in this area right here. Porro, very good, gets the ball out. Now Dyer is pretty advanced, gives the ball back to Harry Kane, and he doesn't stay put. He doesn't go deep. No. He keeps going up. He's making a center forward run. Harry Kane switches the direction of the play towards Perisic. Eric Dyer is still moving, and he's moving like a striker, like someone who wants to score a goal. And so, as you can see here, Casemiro is next to him. Now, I was really disappointed because Casemiro was supposed to take Eric Dyer, and yet he didn't in this sequence. What's going to happen instead, of course, as you can see, Fred and Bruno Fernandes are also not in the sequence. They are chasing the pack, but they are completely irrelevant in the sequence. Eric Dyer identifies this spot right here, and that's the spot where he's going to make the run, exploit that spot. Son towards Perisic. Perisic towards Dyer. Now, as you can see, Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes completely out of the sequence. Fred is here, but he's one of the shortest players in the Premier League. There is no way that he's winning this header against Eric Dyer. Eric Dyer goes in, towering header, misses it. Maybe that's actually why he's the Harry Maguire equivalent as far as Spurs fans. Gotta compose myself. As far as Spurs fans are concerned. But yeah, this should have been a goal. But great play by Eric Dyer. Eric Dyer, that's Franz Beckenbauer right there. That's Franco Baresi right there. That's great libero play right there. We thought that that position, that role was defunct. No, it's not. And Ryan Mason, props to you, my friend, because these are some very good tactical tweaks. Why didn't Erik Ten Hag react to that? Let's move to the tactical board to look at it in more detail. Okay, so now let's look at the tactical board. So guys, please, the numbers are random, so please don't mind them. Now, this is how the teams were set up at the hour mark, because that's when 3 substitutions happened. Kulusevski for Richarlison for Spurs, Fred for Eriksen for Manchester United, and Martial for Sancho as well. But here I still haven't included those Ryan Mason tactical tweaks. Now remember, those tweaks happened since minute 45, right after the break, because Ryan Mason had that briefing with them during the break, right? But I still haven't included here because I want to show how Erik Ten Hag has had about 10 to 15 minutes to actually observe, analyze, assess what Ryan Mason is doing before he actually made those hour mark substitutions. Now, by being set up in this way, substitution Eriksen for Fred in order to add more energy, substituting Martial for Sancho, having Rashford play here on the left, those are like for like substitutions. You're doing it mainly to add either different qualities or more energy without really changing the shape. Now, the only reason that I would justify this, if I were Erik Ten Hag, is either that, number one, I did not see the changes that Ryan Mason is doing to his tactics, or that I saw them, but I did not think that they were significant enough. Because this is what Ryan Mason did. Again, like I said, he's pushed Dyer into that number 6 position and had Kane drop into that number 10 position, basically having Son and Kulusevski playing as the split forward. So originally, when we were in this shape right here, of course, 3v2 in midfield, Spurs in the first half, there was no way that they could control that midfield. Bruno, Christian Eriksen, and Casemiro had a field day. But now, with Eric Dyer and Harry Kane, now we are outnumbered. And so in these kind of situations, Ryan Mason, first of all, has the advantage. Why? Because he is the one who proactively made the change. And also he had 10-15 minutes during the break to talk in detail to his team, really give them all the pointers, all the details about how he wants them to play in the second half, which is a luxury that Erik Ten Hag doesn't have. But in these kind of situations, what you do is you try to mimic what the opposition does because you already have the lead. So this was at the 60th minute, we were already 2-1 up. And so what you try to do is you react to the changes that were made by mimicking what is happening. And the best way to do that is actually to sacrifice your width in order for you to be a little more narrow. So what I would have done, now with hindsight, but also knowing full well that Erik Ten Hag, with all of the fancy, apps and hardware that he has at his disposal, should have seen what I showed you in the video earlier, what Ryan Mason was doing with Dyer and Kane. He should have seen that and should have adapted to that before the 60-minute mark, before making the changes. And what we should have done then is play Casemiro in this number 6 role, basically taking Kane out of the game, and then you keep Christian Eriksen, but you substitute Anthony for Fred. And so then you have Fred, Christian Eriksen, Bruno in that number 10 position, and then Martial and Rashford as the split forwards. And then when Christian Eriksen starts showing signs of fatigue, you substitute him for Sabitzer. And then you add another high-intensity, high-octane type of midfielder alongside Fred to match, Skip and Højbjerg, with Casemiro focusing on Harry Kane, and then Bruno, of course, moving around Dyer and not letting him have a field day like he did in the second half. And then once Bruno gets tired, I substitute him for Weghorst. And then I have him as a player who plays in this area, presses, just a hard-working player. He can also help with defending set pieces, and also he can be an attacking threat with set pieces, can hold up the ball, can help us waste and save some time. So yeah, that's what I would have done. But these substitutions, Fred for Christian Eriksen and Martial for Sancho, that early, did not make any sense, and we did not change our shape or the way we were playing. So why did we make those substitutions? What was the purpose? How did Erik Ten Hag attempt to change the game with his substitutions? What kind of tactical tweaks did Erik Ten Hag do in reaction to the tactical tweaks that Ryan Mason did? I cannot see it. If you guys saw it, please make sure to tell me in the comment section below. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to give it the thumbs up and please share it with your friends on social media and leave a comment. Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Up until next time, cheers.